Hello, this is a short video to talk about the prospective contract that may or may not be coming up for adult education tutors in the Irish education system. So I'm going to focus on this position of adult educator and just to explain a little bit about what that is. First of all, it's important to say that this is a prospective contract, so nothing has been finally decided. In fact, discussions are may not even have begun at this stage. But it's pretty clear what tutors are going to be offered because there isn't really an awful lot of other options for them. It's also important to say that the contract will be offered, you won't be forced to take it generally. So we hope and we imagine. Tutors will be able to stay as they are now, to retain the part-time status that all tutors are on as of now. It's unsatisfactory, but it may be better than the alternative. Let's have a look at it. So this adult educator position, it's becoming, I think, more prominent in further education in general. And the exact details have to be worked out in tutors' case, but the adult educators, the salary scale is the same as the Youth Reach resource worker. And it would mean that if you took this contract, you'd be on a salary, you'd be on a 12-month salary, just like everybody else, like nearly everyone else in an ETB. And there would be no more layoffs. So what tutors would get would be just standard 30 or 35 days holidays a year. So you'd have to decide when to take your holidays. So there's no the summer isn't off. July and August is working time. If you want time off, you have to use up some of your holiday days, just as any normal salaried employee. Same with Easter. You'd be working through first week of Easter or first week and a half, I suppose. And there'd be no midterms either. You can take a midterm possibly, but again, you have to use up holiday days. So the way it works then is your CID, your current CID, would be converted into a 12-month salary. So whatever you're earning now, you'll be earning in a salaried full-time position. And it's possible that there will be more administration and more time to be required to be in the ETB. So you may have to have hours that you have to be in the ETB as a tutor without teaching. But again, there are details that would have to be worked out. How it's going to work in practice is anybody's guess. So what does this mean for tutors exactly? So no more social welfare during layoffs, as there are no more layoffs. Your yearly salary will stay the same as you have now, but you may have to work more. You will likely work more days in the year because many tutors, they'd be laid off Christmas, Easter, 2 midterms, at least 9 weeks in the summer. Some are laid off 11 weeks, some are laid off 13 weeks in the summer. There are all times when tutors either claim social welfare or get other work. But all of those layoffs are gone. You will just be taking holiday days, really. And so it's likely that tutors will have more days work in the year. And so because of this, if you take the contract, the social welfare entitlement is gone. So your income will actually initially go down because your ETB income will stay the same, and then you'll have no social welfare. So whatever you're earning now, will be just converted into a 12-month salary. So then it gets a little more complex. After 5 or 6 years, the tutors will join the salary scale, and what the term is that the salary scale will in effect catch up with tutors' wage rates. In other words, normally people would go in on 0.1 in a scale, but because the total wages of tutors at the moment would be above 0.1 on the scale for a full-time person, and you can't lose money, you will go on an off-point scale. Tutors will go on an off-point scale for 4 or 5 years, possibly, and then the salary scale will have caught up to the wages. This is kind of complex, and it will become clear once the situation happens. But in effect, you'll stay on a fixed salary for 4 or 5 years and then go into the salary scale. So the salary scale starts to make sense a little bit financially. You're still working more, but you eventually will start making more money after 6-7 years. But In the meantime, you will have many tutors, not all tutors, but many tutors will have lost the social welfare entitlements, and so will have lost money over the first 5 years. So it's really only after about 10 years that, on the balance, tutors are starting to see the benefit of the contract financially, over which time they will have worked more hours and more days, probably. Again, details are important. This is probably the situation. So this, again, we were talking about salary scale. This is the post-2011 salary scale. So remember that there's two different rates of pay for pretty much everyone in every education worker. So from 2011, in the financial crisis, the rates went down. And this is for post-2011. The crosses there are points that have been eliminated, so it means that people move up the scale more quickly. So they're beneficial. And this is for the pre-2011. In other words, the people who entered the profession before 2011, they would be on this salary scale, which is actually the same as that one, but you jump up 2 points really. You're kind of 2 points ahead of the post-2011 at all times. So every tutor is different though. So some tutors actually work hours maybe over the summer, and so maybe this won't be so different for them. Others do not claim social welfare for whatever reason, and so won't lose out on that. And there may be an improved pension provision in the new contract, but there may not. Again, that remains to be seen. Again, it's important to stress nothing has been fixed or decided yet. Really, discussions are only ongoing. But we're talking about adult educator because there's not really much else on offer. The government will not give tutors a teaching contract. I think that's pretty clear, much as we think we deserve one. They will not make up a new salary scale out of the air for tutors, and they really just use something that already exists. And adult educator is all that's left. In other words, it fits into that youth resource person scale. So the big sticking point for a lot of people is there'll be no recognition of prior service. This means that if you've been working, say, in an ETB for 10 or 15 or 20 years, you would start on a higher point of the scale, which to a lot of people would seem like justice. It would seem to be fair. You know, you've put in the work, you've put in the service. In many cases, tutors have created the departments of adult literacy, created the whole profession of adult literacy, have been working in this area for years, even decades, and yet everybody is likely to go in on the same level. So as of now, all tutors will start on the same basis, whether they've been in the job 2 months or 20 years. The unions are not, as of now, as far as I know, looking for any recognition of prior service. So in other words, it's likely that this will be the case for this contract. If there was recognition of prior service and people who have been in this for a longer period were bumped up the salary scale more quickly, I think that would make a big difference. But that's not it doesn't appear to be on the cards at the moment. So implications. Older tutors are disadvantaged in this process. They will not have enough time before retirement to benefit from the salary scale. The salary scale is beneficial if you can hang around for 10 years or 12 years or 15 years. Then you start to see some benefit. But if you're 55 or if you're 58 or 60, you don't have time really to benefit from this. Younger tutors will benefit from it, at least those who see themselves as going to be in an ETB for, longer than 10 years, 12 years. If it's kind of a long-term thing, then this would benefit younger tutors. And that these are things that people will have to decide for themselves. Again, to stress, nothing has been decided yet, but it's very likely that something very close to this is going to be on the cards for tutors because there is very little left. Very few other options left. If there was a recognition of prior service, that would change a lot. But as of now, older tutors, and that seems to be the majority of tutors, are not very unlikely to benefit much from this. Anybody got any queries, questions, or comments? AETO2021@gmail.com. That's Adult Education Teachers Organization 2021@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and watching.